Boa noite a todos. Devido ao imprevisto, esta aula atrasará 15 minutos.
Hello, everybody.
Pode falar, Ramos. Sim, sim. Sim, sim.
If you can hear me, so please wave your hand.
Tá bom, ok. 지금 시작하겠습니다. 기도하고.
그래. 안 돼.
Ok. Olá, boa noite, irmãos e irmãs do Brasil e da América do Sul. Pedimos desculpa por esse breve imprevisto que atrasamos alguns minutos na nossa aula de hoje. Então, hoje nós estamos reunidos aqui para dar continuidade ao programa da Escola de Messias Tribal Celestial, centralizado no nosso líder continental e também líder da sub-região 1, reverendo David Don Kim. A aula de hoje, o reverendo Kim também irá responder perguntas que foram enviadas pelas famílias no decorrer dessa semana. Só que antes de iniciarmos nossa aula de hoje, eu gostaria de convidar o pastor Odair de Almeida, ele é o vice-presidente do Brasil, para poder fazer a oração de abertura. Por favor, vamos recebê-lo para fazer a oração e acompanhá-lo.
Vamos orar. Amados Pais Celestiais, verdadeiros Pais do céu, terra, humanidade, boa noite. Pai amado, hoje nós estamos na quarta aula do Messias Tribal Celestial. Agradecendo, Pai amado, a vós, por vós estar nos proporcionando nesse tempo, nessa época, tanto aprendizagem, Pai amado, e nós queremos colocar em prática. Pedimos a vós que nesta noite, pois possa, Pai amado, usar o vosso Filho enviado para a América do Sul, o reverendo David Don Kim, que assim, Pai amado, ele possa ser um canal do vosso amor, da vossa bênção para todos nós. Nós queremos, Pai amado, estar aprendendo e cada vez mais estarmos, Pai amado, ficando aptos, Pai, a ganhar vitória do nosso Messias Tribal Celestial. Abençoe grandemente cada um dos vossos filhos e filhas que aqui estão, Senhor, dedicando, Pai amado, cada vez mais em aprender e assim nós venhamos colocar em prática. Nós queremos nessa noite pedir a vossa bênção para esta aula e queremos relatar a nossa oração. Relata assim meu nome, da Lima de Almeida, que é uma família abençoada central. Ádio.
Muito obrigado pela oração, pastor Odair. Então, a partir de agora, daremos início à quarta aula da Escola do Messias Tribal Celestial da América do Sul. Vamos todos receber o reverendo Kim com uma grande salva de palmas.
Hello. 안녕하십니까? Good evening, everybody. Yeah, today we're gonna keep answering the questions which couldn't finish it last week. Today we remain many, so I would like to finish those questions, those answers as quickly as possible. Okay, that's the number 5. What is the influence of Jeongseong and the ancestors' merit on the success of HTM activities? Is that the reason why, for some, the result of tribal messiahship comes faster, and for others, it is more difficult? Okay, once we liberate the ancestors and then have a blessing for them, they will be the blessed couple in the spiritual world, which is the absolute good spirit. And then we have to know why, what these absolute good spirits gonna do. Still, even though they were liberated and they become blessed family, still in the spiritual world, these spirit, our ancestors' spirit, as blessed family, they have same mission and the responsibility with us. So that's why when this ancestor spirit can be most active, and then can work with us as a blessed family on this earth, is to try to accomplish the tribal messiahship. That means when we aim and we make a plan and we go out and then to achieve our tribal messiahship. And then before we go, for example, if we are, we are asking those ancestors, the absolute good spirit comes together earth and then go out, and then with this kind of purpose of a heart, if we are trying to mobilize them, and I'm sure these absolute good spirit gonna work with us. But this question is how these ancestors can work for the successful result. Yeah, I'm sure our Jungtong condition, or the more we finish the blessing with the ancestors, the better result of our activities will come surely. Yeah, so that's why first, we need to build up a certain Jungtong foundation, and also furthermore, we need to fulfill the liberation and the blessing of ancestors step by step, more and more. 6, in South America, for many blessed families, the idea of restoring 430 families is very distant, even if the home group is employed. Many of these families still think that only a few leaders will be able to achieve this, or only those who understand the home group system very well. However, many families who still do not understand or have not been able to successfully practice the home group feel without the hope of success. What can we do to help and give hope to these families? Yeah. Okay, so we will run these HTM activities from now on with the 3 steps. It's very simple, as you see in this table. So our goal is to reprioritize our activities. So far, we had focusing on home group activities as a priority. And then the HTM Providence came, and then actually for a while, these home group activities and HTM activity has been mixed up, and somehow it was not clearly classified in our movement. So in that sense, what I would like to suggest to all blessed families to achieve the HTM activities, okay, let's just follow the 3 steps. The first step is forget it. Forget everything what we have done so far. If we are not becoming Chenpo family yet. So what we're gonna do first, we will achieve 430 blessings vertically and horizontally. That's number 1 thing that we have to do. Why? With the true mother's victorious foundation and with the true parents' grace, we had the opportunity to become Chenpo family by accomplishing only these 430 blessing families, vertically and horizontally. So we will go this one first. That means we have holy wine ceremonies, which means spiritual salvation, individual salvation, but not just a single person, but basically as a family and as a couple. Right? So when we count, we are not count, individual in the family. We will count family base. So we will have holy wine ceremony for 430 families. Let's have holy wine ceremony on the extension of our true family movement. For example, in Korea, many hundreds of blessed family achieved the HTM activities and they became Chunbo family. They did exactly, they called people, either couples or individual, whatever, and then they try to teach and then convince participants to understand what we are doing as the true family movement, and then we educate them to really understand and accept the value of family, and then we ask them to become a member of what the family, true family movement. We make a organization, which means a true family movement organization, something like that. And then we ask them to understand what we are doing and ask them to become member of this organization. And then in order to make a celebration or in order to make a conviction for them to realize this ideal of this organization. That's why we gave the holy wines and they had a holy wine ceremony. So yeah, that's not, we have holy wine ceremony, but not as a blessed families, but as a member of true family movement organizations. That's what exactly Korean HTM had done. So we can go that way. Why? True Mother accepted that, and then with that way, as long as we are able to make this 430 families who had a holy wine ceremony, that's the achievement of 430 blessing on the horizontal level. So that's why we go that first. And then based on 430 families, which is my spiritual tribe, I already made a tribe. And based on this 430 horizontal tribe plus 430 tribe in the spiritual world vertically. And then I can stand on the vertical and physical tribal Messiah. This is Chunbo family. So first of all, we need to become Chunbo family. And then as a next step, second step, we will implement home group activities, which we have been running in South America. So I know there are some members who completely understood and then implemented and then created a great successful foundation. And then on the other side, there are still many members who really don't understand and then who cannot implement these home group activities. Well, actually, either we use the home group activity or building relationship, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is that we already have 430 families. So among these 430 families, we will approach them one by one, and then we will bring them to the next step, which means blessing the family blessing. I mean, the pre-married blessing as a second step. So among 430, we can approach it from the 3 couples. And then these 3 couples become 12, 36, 43, 124, eventually all 430 couples. And then how we can approach them? We need to build up the good human relationship with a love and a heart, so that both of us, myself and one of our 430 families, can build up the good give and take actions, right? Very intimate relationship. And based on this intimate relationship, we will implement a one-on-one divine principle education, which means with the divine principle, sit down together, face to face, and then read the divine principle. And as long as the divine principle is absolute truth, and the true absolute truth itself create the power to separate and to change the person. So we believe that. And then we have divine principle education as a one-on-one way method. So we collect more and more, and then we have to manage them, right? Building relationship and then teaching divine principle. And then those who understand and accept the divine principle, we collect them, and we will start fundoke gathering. Well, from now on, we will, HTM, department in the headquarters will really develop this kind of manual for the Chambo families, and then we will educate again. So don't worry about that. Now I'm just explaining rough kind of steps how to work, right? So we will begin the gathering, formal gathering, centering on Hundoke. And then this gathering may happen my family or one of my tribal home. This kind of home gathering, small group home gathering. So here and there, or Monday or Sunday, it doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. Space doesn't matter. Number of gathering people doesn't matter. So in a week, as a HTM or a Chambo family, you may have this kind of small group meeting centering on God's words, maybe 2 or 3 or more. So that's why finally, if you are able to have gathering with more than 36 people, and then you can officially organize and then start Hundok Home Church, which means you are leader of Hundok Home Church, which means tribal church leader, home church leader. And then with your tribe under your guidance, you will develop many kind of social project in your community by working together with your tribe. And then you will build up the foundation in the community. So True Mother had created, last year, True Mother had created Heavenly Parents Community, right? Heavenly Parents Community, what is this? This is exactly the boundary and also the external foundation from our Chanbo, HTM, activities in the community. So that's why this local community restoration will go together with the national community. And then we will finally build up the substantial kingdom of heaven on earth in your area. And then finally, as a Chamber family, you will be able to fulfill your mission and the responsibility. And then we will be able to open kingdom of heaven on earth together with the true mother. And this is what we're going to do from now on. So, so in that sense, our goal and our hope is that all the HTM go together and work together, and then achieve the goal together. But reality is not all the people go together on the same line. I don't know how many percent of our blessed family can really go to the first step, and then among those first step members, how many percent of them will go to the 10 more steps? And then among those members, how many percent will achieve the goal? I don't know. It depends on many various kind of elements. But even 5% or 10% of blessed family can achieve the final goal, and based on those families who achieve the goal, accomplish the responsibility, we will work together and get together to help and support HTM, those who are still on this process. We will organize and we will consistently develop the manuals and the educational component. So based on this clear step-by-step strategy for the goal, we can work together from now on, I believe. Next, one of the main points for the Heavenly Tribal Messiahship work is to take the first 43 families through all the steps up to the 3-day ceremony. The most difficult thing to introduce is the topic of 40 days separation, and even more so the 3-day ceremony. How would you introduce this topic, considering that the couples who receive the wine are not members and practice another religion? Yeah, those who are not having religion, right? So by drinking holy wine, they already saved. They have been already saved. We already achieved, spiritual salvation. Next step is to guide them to achieve the physical salvation, family salvation. That's why we have to guide them to go to the next step, which means blessing ceremony, right? So those who finish the holy wine ceremony, yeah, of course, it's difficult, but key point or key fact that they, not all of them, but some of them can accept and then go to the next step is to teach divine principle and guide them their spiritual life and their physical life centering on divine principle. So that's why I strongly recommended them, if you are targeting some of people from 430 to bring them to the next step, build up the good relationship and based on personal relationship, and then please stop to educate the divine principle with the one-on-one. I think only divine principle truth can guide them to make that kind of dramatic change and to follow these steps for the salvation for the physical body. After family received the HTM wine, if this family completes 40 days of separation and the 3 days ceremony, being guided by the spiritual parents, can we consider that they are blessed family, or should we direct them to the official holy wine blessing, taking the wine again and doing all the ceremonies? I don't think so. If they had holy wine ceremony and then they had kept the, or they had the, an indemnity stick ceremony, and then after that they have a 40-day separation, and then they follow the 3 days, 3 days ceremony without a failure, they already became blessed family, which means they already become the, achieved physical salvation, family salvation on it. We need to educate them with the divine principle and guide them to know the more factor of the life of faith, so that they can really follow the true parents and go the way of life of faith. So that's why, with this kind of blessing ceremony, the point is that when we go first step, we give a holy wine ceremony. That's the spiritual salvation, right? So please look back our blessings, especially what was the process, right? What was the process from our blessing? We clearly remember, first, before we attended blessing ceremony, we had holy wine ceremony after matching, right? Do you remember? Blessing ceremony was not the first. Those who had a holy wine ceremony as a matched couple were able to participate the holy blessing ceremony. So after holy blessing ceremony, we gathered together, all together, and then we had the indemnity state, right? Indemnity state. And then after indemnity state, we had a 40 days of separation. And after 40 days, we got a benediction, and then we had the 3 days ceremony. And then we became blessed family, blessed couple. So this is exactly it. From the spiritual salvation to the physical salvation, all these kind of step-by-step ceremonies has been designed by God and true parents in order to separate Satan and then overcome Satan's lineages, the leader of Satan's lineage, spiritually as well as physically. That's why those who had passed this step-by-step ceremony became the real blessed family. If some couple who had been failed, right, to follow this order, actually in the beginning, they were not blessed, traditional blessed family. And with the failure of this process, if the children came out, these children were not second generations because they failed to get rid of Satan and Satan's lineage. Yeah. So that's why we started from holy wine ceremony, but those eventually those 430 families who drank the holy wine must transform to the people who finish it physical salvation, which means we have to guide them to pass through this kind of step-by-step heavenly order of ceremony to everybody. So those who already passed that process, 40 days separation and the 3 days ceremony, they are already blessed family like us. So they don't need to have the same holy wine ceremony again. Now, Heavenly Tribal Messiah and the public mission, number one. In the context of South America, we have many situations of members who were doing public mission in one location, but have changed their mission, either to another city or country. Can my tribe members be spiritual children who are not living in the same place as my public mission? Yeah, of course. You know, your spiritual children or your tribe, doesn't matter where they live. Real matter is how can you manage it and keep consistent take care for them, spiritually as well as physically. The matter is a management of them, keeping relationship with them, keeping guiding them. So if you change your mission, you know, one side you will still try to focusing on creating more tribe members in your new mission area. But former area, you need to develop a certain way to take care of them and keep, sustainable kind of, management for them. And especially for the, public missionaries or public pastors or, this kind of leaders case, in Korea especially, it's a very natural for them to have a certain number of, areas, areas with a different group of spiritual life. But how do I manage my tribe that is spread all over the Brazil in several states? I cannot meet with them due to the geographical distance. So I won't be able to give a Sunday service with them or even visit them. Well, that's why God had blessed us, Corona pandemic. So without the sit down together, without the gather together, we can gather together in, in the, online space. We can develop the online contact, online gathering. How about the online Sunday service? We can develop and we can manage it. Geographical situation is not 100% kind of problem or matter. We need to build up the advance and the more developed, method to manage our tribe. Or if you cannot successfully to manage it by online, and then let them go to the the family church near them. So instead of you need to communicate with a local area family church leaders and then explain and then ask to get these pastors help or support for your tribal messiahship movement, and then taking care of your tribe. Within the current providential organization, is there financial support plan for pastors and the leaders so that they don't need to work outside and can focus on supporting the victory of families in full time? Well, well, this need to be done. I need to check the situation in Brazil especially, and also I need to learn case by case, and then we will try to find out to support missionaries and then these spiritual leaders so that they can work, more kind of more I mean, better and then easier. So at this moment, I don't know the situation. That's why I cannot make any clear clarification at this point. I'm sorry. Well, how can a leader lead the families of his region in a proper way, since this leader works all day in a job in the secular world and does not have much time to organize the activity, visit, and take care of the families of his region? Well, yeah, in that case, one side, we will empower the HTM, Heavenly Tribal Messiahs, not only leaders, but also all Heavenly Tribal Messiahs, so that they can more kind of autonomically work with more sense and the more kind of power and the more sense of responsibility on the field. And if HTM, they by themselves can really work and find out their way by themselves, and then these leaders, their burden will be very smaller. So one side we will try to find out, support leaders. The other side we will try to empower Heavenly Tribal Messiahs for their activities. Sometimes I feel that the demand for church activities is very heavy. How can we reconcile everything that the church asks of us with the activities of the Heavenly Tribal Messiah that demands 100% investment to work? Well, I can say the HTM, or to become Chumbo, is not the church matter. Not church ask for you to do this. This is the heavenly mission. This is the responsibility of all the blessed families. And this is the way for our life of faith to be accomplished. That's why, church doesn't give a direction, or, please don't think I am working and I'm doing HTM activity for the church. No. This is for yourself and for your tribe and for your descendant. So that's why, as I already mentioned, I hope everybody will be successful and all this family achieve this, goal. But we know 100% of families, all family cannot do that. Some of them go. That's why we will see the first group of families who achieve this goal. And based on this model, we can go next step one more time, same route, one more time, and the more percentage of families will achieve as a second successful group. Like this, we can go same way, first time, second time, third time. And then more and more families will be successful. And then finally, all the blessed families will accomplish this holy mission of HTM, I believe. So my point is that we will work together, but 100% of us cannot, make a same result, because everybody's a standard and everybody's the way of thinking and the way of their accomplishment will be different. So that's why. But even though we have that kind of situation, we will do our best, and then we will get the first fruits. And then immediately we will go to the way to get the second fruit like this. We will repeat this way until the last and the final members, final families can reach it, can realize this success and then join us. Ancestors and the vertical heavenly tribe Messiah activities. 1. A family of strong faith, elder member has liberated and blessed 210 generations of ancestors. Still, they began to lose faith and went to another church because they were disappointed with the problems of second generation and the Jardim project. How is this possible? Shouldn't the ancestor protect them from leaving the church? I was told it was the sin of ancestors, but I was not satisfied with this answer because the ancestors are blessed and liberated. The daughter's family finished the liberation and the blessing of the ancestors until 430 generations after the parents left the church. Yeah. Many situations occur. In this kind of situation between physical world and spiritual world, we cannot interpret, or we cannot define certain situation, certain affairs with one simple reason. I don't agree with that. Even we don't know what kind of reasons why this kind of thing happen. But I can say to do this: everything wrong, everything didn't happen. Leave the church and something wrong with the membership. That's not the spiritual influence 100%, I think. That's a failure of blessed family members' portion of responsibility. That means no matter what kind of thing happen, even though there are many things that we must disappoint, but we know that. And the true parents have taught us that kind of humanistic understanding comes and the emotional situation comes. We have to kill ourselves. We have to overcome, and we have to fight with Satan, and then we have to win. After we win everything, after we separate Satan, after we gain the submission from Satan, and then in the spiritual, our ancestor spirit can work with us. I'm not on the standardized situation. And even though we are, liberated and blessed, our ancestors cannot help us. Why? Maybe they may help a little bit, but not fully. Why? They are also blessed family in the spiritual world. They have the same mission and the responsibility to accomplish tribal messiahship by working together with us. But as a leader of this physical tribe and the spiritual world tribe, I am the leader. And as a leader, I lost my way. I lost my leadership. And then how these spiritual ancestors can come and then work? They stop. They cannot go further. Why? My responsibility as a tribal messiah in front of spiritual absolute good spirit is a breach. My mission is a breach. And then I asked them to, I pushed them, why don't you stay here? Go out. And then let's find our tribe. And then they can rush through the breach I made in between two walls. Who can have that kind of responsibility? Bless the family members themselves. So I don't believe because of the spiritual, spiritual, ancestor sin, members, chose a different way. I don't think so. They may spiritually influenced somehow, but final decision is not from spiritual world, but from our family members. That's not the problem, spiritual problem, but that's a problem of life of faith. I'm sure. In recent years, my goal has always been to liberate and bless my ancestors. But I feel so trapped and spiritually tied up, so I cannot do. I have already made several Jeongseong for this. I have also felt very constrained and have not been able to do the horizontal HTM blessings. Are there any specific conditions that I must do to unlock this situation? Yeah, there are many. But if you have a strong commitment that you are ready to kill yourself, your fallen self, I'm sure. Based on that kind of commitment, if you are able to build up Jeongseong condition, you will be able to establish the road, the strong road, highway between physical world and spiritual world. I'm sure there exists something, spiritual barriers at this moment, which you may not catch up. And how are you going to overcome? The way is only one. You have to break down these spiritual barriers by building Jeongseong condition by yourself. As I said, because you don't know what kind of barriers, why that barriers stay in front of you. You don't know. That's why whenever you just go and hit that barriers, block, and then you're going to lose your spiritual power, and then you lose yourself. That's why you don't have more energy. You cannot make energy, or you cannot keep the motivation to go next step. So how can you break through? You have to be ready to kill your fallen self and challenge again and build up the Jeongseong condition. So that's why you need to establish the certain Jeongseong condition. You thought you never be able to make it. No, put that kind of Jeongseong condition, and then put your life. And then once you win, you will be able to overcome, and then we'll go beyond of these spiritual barriers. Number 3, in the case of adopted children, are their ancestors from the biological family or the family that adopted them? I think that's both sides. This adopted son has bloodline, right? Bloodline. So in that sense, these children, through his or her bloodline, hereditary sins still may work. On the other side, he's legally in the spiritual or legally, his identity has been changed. Even though he has a former bloodline, keep the bloodline, but his legal status has been changed, which is going to be influenced from current family's ancestors. So in that sense, this adopted child can be influenced from the both sides. What are the criteria to receive the blessing with the spiritual world? What is the concept of blessing with the spiritual world? Yeah, there is a spiritual world blessing, right? In that case, actually depends on the person who understand and accept this spiritual world blessing. But usually, widows or widow's case, once they want to get the blessing with the husband or wife already, who already passed away in the spiritual world, they want to keep, and their that kind of couples relationship, even in the spiritual world. So that's why in widow or widow's case, they are going to be accepted to have a spiritual world blessing. And then second case, if someone they don't like people who live on this earth, and they think or they decide it's better to bless them with the spirit, and then regardless of situation, with this person's desire or requirement, spiritual world blessing can be accepted. And then maybe third category is a kind of those who want to get the blessing, but it's too old, maybe 60s or 70s. In that case, some of them may choose spiritual world blessing, because sooner or later they will go to the spiritual world. So in this case, people can choose the spiritual world blessing. Yeah. And there is no specific criteria, then same criteria for the general married couple's blessing. Next, the national restoration. In Father's last prayer is written, restore the nation by the victory of the tribal Messiah, and perfect through the restoration of 380 nations. In objective terms, what does the number 387 mean? Also, what is the connection between the victory of a tribal messiahship and the restoration of the nation? Wow, this is a really good question. Well, I'm sorry, I don't remember clearly from Father's kind of words or explanation regarding 387 nations. Actually, when Father calculated, the nations on this earth, which is connected with the UN providence, Father had thought, and Father always pinpointed out 194 countries under UN. So that's why whenever Father mentioned UN providence, right? UN providence means whole nations. The number of whole nations under UN providence was 194 nations. So I interpreted this. It's my interpretation. I interpret this. This Father's providence for the UN providence is renew UN by building able type of UN, right? So current UN with the Father's providential concept is Cain UN. So there's a Father wanted to build up the able UN. So that's why able UN 194 plus Cain UN not 194. Altogether, how many? 3, and then it should be the 388, right? 388 Canaan able side nation under the UN. And then why Father omitted 1? Why Father mentioned 387? Because among 194 Canaan nations, one nation really symbolizes Satan. So that's why Father didn't count Satan's nation. So that's why take out one nation. That's why God's providence, which tribal messiahship must be accomplished in the nation. The number of those nations gonna be 387 nations in the Father's providential concept. That's my interpretation. And then the connection between tribal messiahship and restoration of nation. Okay, restoration of nation will be happen by the all blessed families, right? But the tribal messiahship will be done by one heavenly tribal messiah, one blessed family. So that means in the nation, all blessed families' goal to achieve is a national restoration. And as one single family, the responsibility is to restore the local community. So that's why the conclusion of tribal messiahship, conclusion of HTM activities, and the conclusion of Cheonbo family movement is to complete heavenly community. And then this heavenly community with all blessed families will be the foundation for the restored nation, right? For the restored nation to start kingdom of heaven on earth. In other words, even though we restore the nation, after this restoration of the nation, what the step? The step is to make this restored nation as a real nation of kingdom of God on this earth. So this one, without the tribal messiah who really changed and work as a center of community kingdom of heaven, restored nation cannot be the kingdom of heaven as a nation. So that's why this heavenly tribal messiahship and the restoration nation will go together to create one national foundation to become kingdom of heaven. Number 2, in relation to beginning of our Hundok church. Our Hundok church is to be made up of our spiritual children and grandchildren. However, our spiritual children who are Cheonbo families also need to do their HTM work, creating their own Hundok church. There seems to be an overlap between a family's Hundok church and the Hundok church of their spiritual children who are also Cheonbo families. How is this going to work? Yeah, in Korea, for the HTMs to become the Cheonbo family, this kind of vertical steps of spiritual children. So I am blessed family, right? And I witnessed the member, and then this my spiritual child become blessed family, right? And then my spiritual children really work to become Cheonbo family, and I work for the Cheonbo work for the Chambo. So basically, Chambo family is the goal is 430 vertical and 430 horizontal. As a blessed family, if I achieve 430, right, and then I have spiritual parents, and then I am the son of my spiritual parents, right? So that's why, even though I accomplished the HTM in front of my spiritual parents, I am his or her children. That's why my 430 spiritual children, actually these 430 will be the 3 generations of the third generation of my spiritual parents, right? My spiritual parents as a blessed family is the first blessed family. Me as a spiritual child, second generation, and my spiritual children is the 3rd generation. So this until my spiritual children, my parents can hold. So if I achieve the 430, my parents cannot. My parents do not need to achieve the 430. My 430 already include his, my spiritual parents, foundation. So only for himself, he need, my spiritual parents need to hold only 50, which means your spiritual child as a blessed family goes the way of HTM activities and then accomplished, right? 430 families earlier than you. You don't need to fulfill 430. You can take your spiritual children's result as your result. But at that point, you need to build up your own portion of responsibility, which means 50 families. I think that already you know that point. So this kind of system will go to the until 3rd generations. So based on this time, this situation, and then Chambo family will have a Hundok home church, right? And then I have to have a Hundok home church with this, with my spiritual children who has 430 families already. That means I will start my own Hundok home church. My spiritual children who fulfilled Heavenly Tribal Messiah and as a Chambo family also can start Hundok home church. 2 Hundok home church can go. But these result of Hundok home church of my spiritual children will belong to my result too. So that's why this spiritual child is the result can go 2 ways. One is his own, he or her own result, and then also the same result is going to be part of my Hundok home church result. So this is the kind of rule that Korean headquarters had developed. So once we, even in South America, once we have the same situation happen like this, and then we will, research the case, and then we will follow the, we will make a follow-up situation based on this kind of rule. Next, the Chambo family. 1, who has not yet completed the horizontal blessing of 430 couples, even though they have a completed vertical blessing. How does it stand to qualify as a Chambo couple? Because the pandemic prevents us from completing the horizontal blessing. Well, simple answer is whether you wait until finish it pandemic situation, or you still keep working to create your horizontal tribe. It's up to you. Number two, my family has already become a Chambo family, but it does not yet have a house of ancestors. This is like a Hyojong one. Yeah. How important is this house of ancestors? When will we have available here in South America to acquire it? Well, what is the Hyojong one? This house. This house, if you finish the 430 vertical tribe, right? Blessing. And then basically this absolute good spirit will be allowed to come to your home, to HTM on this earth, and work together. That's why True Mother allow for blessed families to, to get this Hyojong one, and put the dwells in your home, so that your husband's side ancestors come, and your wife's side ancestors come, and then together. That's why Hyojong one is 2 floors, traditional Korean house. So once you put this Hyojong one in your family, what happened? Both sides of spiritual ancestor, as absolute good spirit comes down and start to live together with you in your home. Point is that even though you brought that one, you didn't know, you didn't realize. That's a problem. But okay, so that's why, spiritual world, physical world stay together. That means always you are able to live together with the spiritual world and then work together. But if you don't have a Hyojong one, and what you have to do? You have to kneel down, and then you have to pray to God, and then report, ask to God, God, please send my ancestor here to do this thing. And then your ancestors will fulfill the paper to have outside the visitation from the Jeongsimon, Cheonsimon in the Cheongpyeong training center. And then they got the spiritual, permission, and then they will come to your home. And then after finish the work, and then they have to go back. So whenever you need your ancestor as absolute good spirit, and then as blessed families, you have to pray and call them to write down to the document to get the permission from the spiritual world. That's why you need to take that Hyojong one and put in your home, so that whenever you need their help, and whenever you need to work together, always you can go together with them, or you can ask them to go further than you, earlier than you, and you just follow them, and then you will find out, your ancestors, good spiritual world, how they greatly had worked out and to make a foundation for you. This is the power of Cheonilgo. And this is the power of True Mother's victorious foundation in the era of Cheonilgo after Foundation Day. So, point is that, okay, if we don't have it yet, how are we going to do? Actually, I'm the first in the South America, and I must check to the Cheongsim, training center in Changpyeong, and I will check. Later on, I will let you know what is the process to take this Hyojung 1. After becoming Chonbo couples, will families have more protection for their spiritual children? Because very often spiritual children have the church after period of time, leave spirit, because very often spiritual children leave the church after period of time. Yeah, I'm sure, definitely, ancestor will help, and really will be big, big, help and big support, I'm sure. But we have to know how to run this, our ancestors' spiritual world. And then we have to experience how to work together. And then they can really help you, whatever you want, I'm sure. Many families find it difficult to believe that it is possible to do the HTM, horizontal and vertical, because of the great financial difficulty. These families claim that the actual rate of money that we need to pay for the HTM is already outside the financial reality of many families. The tax to receive the holy robe from Korea was also outside the financial reality of many. There is also the high cost of liberation and the blessing of ancestors. How can we, as leaders, motivate and give hope to these families not to give up? Well, at this time of Cheonil, you have to know what is the relationship between physical world and spiritual world. According to True Mother's guidance and True Mother's miracles and True Mother's providence, True Mother made these two worlds, spiritual world and the physical world, become one. True Mother's now saying, emphasize, you believe me, and then you will be able to create a miracle. Nothing can stop you. You know why? Why True Mother was so strong and so convict to say like that? True Mother made spiritual world come down and stay with us. So that's why once we know, we learn, and we know how spiritual world gonna operate, and then is it real that spiritual world is with me and absolute good spirit are working with me exactly? And then I believe how much money make for their liberation blessing and the holy robes absolutely not matter. Matter is that your mind, our mind think it's impossible. That's why spiritual world cannot operate. Our ancestors cannot move because you don't have sense of possibility. Even you don't believe, you don't know, and how can spiritual world work with you? How spiritual world can make way? Spiritual world know that your realistic cannot, your realistic situation cannot make it. Spiritual world know, but spiritual world is ready to work it, to make it. But how they can make it? You have to open the door of spiritual world to your nation. And how you can do that? Your mind must be changed. Your mind must be opened. Your mind never think it's impossible. Regardless of situation, no matter what kind of barriers exist, as long as you know that spiritual world, the absolute good spiritual world, the good spirit are with me, and then you know them, and then we can ask them, you know, ancestors, you know my situation. If I cannot make foundation to build up this condition for you guys, I must have committed a sin to make money. What you gonna do? You will work, will you work, or still I should work? You can proclaim to the spiritual, and then in the spiritual, your ancestor. Do they think that they have a meeting, and do they make a conclusion that, okay, that's not our responsibility, that's your responsibility. Whatever you are doing, you do it. If your ancestor make a decision like that, they are not your ancestors. That's why you should know this spiritual reality. And you have to be able to trust what happened in the spiritual world. Because you don't know, you don't trust, you liberated your ancestors. Your ancestors become blessed families. Your mind, your knowledge may accept that one, but your heart and your reality and your life doesn't know and doesn't accept. That's why spiritual world cannot work. If you are able to build up the bridge between two worlds so that your ancestors can work, and make that, donation money, or that donation for the holy robe, is it really matter for your ancestors to make it? I think that depends on our mindset. If I know what's going on in the spiritual, if I know our blessed ancestors are here and are ready to work with me, even to prepare holy robe or whatever, even to make a condition to finish the 430 vertical ancestors, please work together with your ancestors. And then you will find out, spiritual world, physical world is not separate. And all the ancestors who live in the spiritual world come to me and work together. If you find out that point through your experience and you know it, that's the most important power as a blessed central family, as a HTM, and as a Chambo in the era of China. So that's why I never worried about Brazil blessed family can finish it horizontal and vertical 430 blessing until next year. Point is not how much difficult. It's not whether I can do or not. The real matter and the important point is that our members really get to know the spiritual world and my physical world become one and not separate. Please do not believe this. You challenge it and find out whether I am telling truth or I am lying you in the position of continental director. I'm very sure. Challenge it, the spiritual world. If it is not true, claim me, I will be responsible for. Why? I had seen, I had learned, I had checked, I had confirmed through mother. That's what I'm telling you. Believe what I'm saying. Challenge it to the spiritual world and work together with your ancestor. Once you see how it works, and then to restore the community, to restore this nation, there's no more barriers, no more impossible things. This is the power of HTM in the era of channel. Okay, next. My family has already become a Champa family, but it does not yet have the, sorry. Oh, I finished it already. Okay, number 4. When parents complete the requirement and become Champa families, will their children also need to make their own tribe after receiving the blessing, or are they within the parents' foundation? I already explained last week, right? If they are second generation, they don't need to do. That's a first generation, parents' responsibility. And the second generation will inherit first generations, the achievement of portion of responsibility. But children is a spiritual children, not the second generation. They also have the same portion of responsibility. Many families find it difficult to believe that it is possible to do the HTM, horizontal and vertical, because, sorry. Yeah, finish it just before I finish. So we remain 3 more. Okay, let me finish quickly. How to lead the lives of our second generation children when they have a disappointment in the engagement and lose faith in true parents. Well, this is our current situation, and this is going to be the our future situation too. We have to find out certain way to solve this situation and to overcome this situation for the future of our community. I'm sure. So that's why I am really serious with this one. Basically, the reason why this kind of things come, they, they say that it's come from 2 kind of reasons. One is spiritual reason. The other one is a lack of education from parents, right? We cannot ignore still our second generation. Many cases are gonna be influenced by the spiritual kind of aspect, which related with hereditary sins and collective sins and individual sins. Even though second generation, they don't have original sin. Yeah, that's a very clear reason why our second generation can be impacted with this kind of situation. And also the other side, True Father emphasized why Israelites, after they get in the Canaan, they had been failed. Why God was not able to send Messiah at that time and build up the God's temple, holy temple, because failure of second generation. Why? Second generation of Israelites were not able to stand before God because failure of parents' education. So we have 2 aspects. I don't think I can make a clear kind of alternatives in detail today. I can say only we need to approach it to solve and build up the solution by dealing with these two regions step by step, and then we can build up the systematic education way and guide the second generation to deal with this kind of spiritual matters centering on his or her families. So we will work on that. Number two, how to conquer the second generation children who lost the faith and started dating. We have spoken and explained the whole principle several times. Yeah, I think it's the same. We can put this case as the same categories. Yeah. So one of the most important, mission to accomplish Vision 2027, as you already saw my presentation through the Vision seminar. One is the Chambo family, as a Chambo family is to achieve the national restoration. The other one is to really build up the second generation, third generation leaders, standardized leaders to lead kingdom of heaven. So if we are able to build up this kind of standardized leadership among the second generation leadership, they by themselves can develop educational manual for their younger brothers and sisters. That's our hope, in the near future. In your second class of HTM school, you explained about the formula course for second gens. How does that work in the current fallen world? You spoke about the fundraising and witnessing, but that does not happen until they are teenagers. How do we protect and educate them until they reach that age? There are so many fallen aspects in our society that can totally corrupt them before they reach their teens. Yeah, I agree that. This formula course, I really try to apply this formula course for the high teenagers, which who graduate high school, so as full-time members, to give a chance to practice them, educate them. But also very important considering point is how can we guide and educate so-called elementary school, junior high school, and high school second generation. In that case, we are working on that. We will build up the national level of online programs centering on divine principle. Point is that we guide them to really become the friend of truth, which is a divine principle. But so far, the educational program centering on divine principle was just a top-down, just a lecture style, from lecturers to second generation. So many, the younger generation, they think, see, even junior high school, second generation, they think, oh, I had gotten DP lectures so many times already. I know divine principle. It's like that. So that's why not this kind of top-down lecture style of divine principle study, but it's a kind of horizontal, discussion, forum style of divine principle education, which can make our second generation, younger second generation, to make to create the ownership for the truth, divine principle. So we are trying to build up this kind of educational kind of component which can guide our junior or high school second generation to really keep learning truth and keep staying with the divine principle in their daily and weekly life. So we are now, practicing that and develop that kind of educational component. But I can say we cannot make an alternative within one day or within 1 week. It needs a certain time. But I can clearly want to say that we are now working to make it. Okay, so it's almost time to wrap today's session. thank you, HTM, so much to participate HTM schools every week. So today I'm gonna finish the Q&A session, and from next week, based on that table which I showed today for the HTM and the Chamber families manual, right? Step-by-step strategy. I will explain the detailed steps. What are we gonna do? And then basically, I will have first session to explain and then give kind of a certain method and direction, and then based on that, we will keep the give and take session, which means your comment and then your additional questions and then my answer, and then through that way we will adjust step by step our activities to reach the goal and finally accomplish our mission. So thank you so much, everyone. Can I finish and wrap this session? Thank you, Heavenly Tribal Messiah ships. I love you. Get a victory. Let's make a victory for True Mother. 아주 사랑합니다.
주 사랑합니다.
감사합니다.
Gracias.
감사합니다.
정말 잘했습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very
Thank you so much. 승리.
고개를 도왔습니다. 사모님도 있습니다.
승리.
사모님 감사합니다.
Thank you very
Heavenly
much.
Sons of God, victory.
사랑합니다.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
감사합니다. 사랑합니다.
감사합니다.
Saludos a todos y bendiciones. Ánimo. Vamos a trabajar.
Buenas noches, Colombia. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Hermanos. Chica de Colombia. Besos.
Para todos.
Noche, Chilindo, buenas noches, Chilindo.